Hello, everyone. I'm back yet with yet another podcast. This is episode number 7, and my guest today is Gucci. In case you do not know who Gucci is, he's one of our, so to say, one of the great Neo players, a friend of mine as well. And I would like to introduce and talk with him today to speak about Nier 2 and why he enjoyed that game clearly, why he still played, and many other things. So welcome on in. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Just got my coffee here, cozy, just woke up, and yeah, man, I'm ready to talk. Let's go.
Oh wow! So we are having the morning talk Nier 2 on
Yes.
Sunday. That's great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So tell me, let's start. I usually always ask people. So like you played Nier 1 and Nier 2. So which one do you
Mm-hmm.
like more, and what is the reason? And
Oh
I
God.
guess and
Mm-hmm.
why I guess you can also say to viewers how long you've been playing Nier 1 and Nier 2 in total.
Okay. So, well, I'll start off by saying that so I have around like 35 to 3600 hours in both games combined. I played the game. I played the first game maybe like a year or two after it came out and played it, beat the game, didn't really do anything afterwards, and then ended up going to Neo 2 as soon as it came out and started playing that. Kind of did the same thing with the first game, dropped it for a bit, came back. I started seeing a lot of Poofer Llama videos and I got really interested because everything he was doing was like a whole new world to me. I was like, wow, this guy is doing like some insane stuff that I want to learn how to do. So I kind of started learning from there. What was your first question? Within that question, you asked two questions. I forgot
Uh,
what the first one was.
Oh, not a problem. So I will repeat. I was saying like which Neo did you like more, Neo 1 and Neo 2, and how many
Ah,
hours you
yes,
got? Yeah. So
I see. Yeah. Okay. So this is kind of a it's an easy question, but a hard question to answer. I typically always say that I like both games equally, but there are times that I prefer the way that the gameplay loop works in Neo 1 over Neo 2 simply because of its um how do I say this? I feel like Neo 2 kind of handholds you in certain scenarios. Like there's a lot of different enemies in Neo 2 that have been like slightly toned down from the first game in terms of speed. And you'll notice a lot of times, like for example, there's like the Kusayoki, for example, right? That's like one of the prime examples of this situation happening where they slow down the move set of a certain enemy and then they give it a burst attack, and it just kind of makes you go, okay, well that's pretty simple. I can just burst attack just like I would any other enemy. But then you realize when you go to the first game, their move set is way faster, and I'm not sure if they have more tracking or something like that too, but like it just feels like I like being able to play Neo in the way that was like intended from the jump, like from the first game. That's why I feel like a lot of the times I will gravitate towards the first game more so than the second, because it just feels like it feels more compact than the second game, if I'm going to be completely honest. Like I love both games to death. I think they're both great, but for me, I think the first game uh is the type of game that I would rather play than the second game, simply because of that. I think the gameplay loop is tighter and not maybe not as interesting. Like I would say like Neo 2 has more depth in terms of its like um combat mechanics. There's so many more mechanics in the second game. It's not even funny. More stuff to play around with, but with that being said, there's a lot more cheese. Like there's like a lot of different things you can do in that game that kind of makes it like easier to kind of like cheese things in multiple ways. Whereas Neo, it's like, well, if you want to cheese stuff, just make a living weapon build. That's all you have to do, right? Like that's all you have to do.
yeah.
So, but yeah, my answer I would think is like I I like both games equally, but for some reason, and I don't know, it's like a combination of like the movement speed that you can stack with all those different like special effects that you put on your gear, like that type of stuff, and like the I don't know, it's just like tight knit, you know. It's like perfect for my type of play style. That's what I would say.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I agree at some point with you. I started back on Neo 1, of course, 1 year, not 1 year after, but actually when game was released on PC. And
Mm,
yeah, you're right. Actually, it's quite more, so to say, technically, it doesn't carry you, it doesn't hold you in hands and actually help you like you need to burst counters, so to say, like being able
mm-hmm.
to burst counter burst attack. It's actually just somehow helping you. While in Neo that was never a case because you
Yeah,
will not burst, bro. You'll die,
yeah.
and the damage
Like,
that you take in Neo one. So actually, it was overall more difficult. I was always saying that and
mhm,
I would say also that the from the perspective of combat deepness, of course, Neo 2 it's much deeper because they added wall another layer, soul cores, and many other things, of course. But again, Neo
mhm,
1 has its own thing, of course.
mhm,
Those are facts. And I would say, like always, Neo 1 it's like more oriented to pure combat, while in Neo 2 they
mhm.
added all that. So to say, I mean, additional things, of course, they're interesting, but I don't know, like I think I prefer somehow human enemies and dojo enemies much more in Nier
Mhm.
1 than in Nier 2.
Yep.
In terms of
I think
yokais, they're great. I mean, yokai's been great in both games, so there
yeah.
is not a big deal with them.
I think the yokai enemies in Neo 2 are more diverse with the DLCs and everything, and I think that the DLCs in Neo 1 also add more yokai enemies as well, which is great. But like I don't know, I think the yeah, I think the enemy design in the second game was just a little bit stronger. Obviously from, past experience of making the first game, they were like, yeah, let's just go all out with these new enemy designs. But I really like I really do like fighting the humans as well, and I think that's another reason why I like bullying them in the first game more than the second game. The first game is very easy to bully human enemies, very easy, especially if you know how to play the game really well. But the second game, I would say the second game has much more advanced enemy AI in terms of humans. It's way more complex. Unless you play co-op and you just use tonfa and fists and you know you just spam any of the fist skills and stuff like that. And, all they're forced to do is block. So
Yeah,
that's
true.
that's the only thing I would say is like aside from if we're talking about one-on-one you versus a human boss or something like that, it's a lot more advanced, I would say, in terms of AI. Mm.
That's very true. And the lack of the parry disable in Neo 2 makes things, so to say, a bit more difficult. So you gotta know game very well, and you have to know what skill you can use in order not to, you have your attack bounce off of the enemy guard. And
Yeah.
I have to say that that was actually quite nice change in Neo 2 because it forced. I mean, personally, it forced me to change the way that I approach humans. Let's say, for instance, you play with dual swords and you know that in order to launch God of Wind 3 you need to land quick attack first, and if
Mm.
boss is blocking you're going to get your quick attack bounce off, which means you are automatically failed because no quick attack, no there is no actually you cannot actually get into the God of Wind 3. So what I found, I said, oh wow, let me try this. And there is a skill on dual sword. Hold on, what was the name of it? It's like a trust attack. Basically, you pierce through enemy guard.
Oh, is it
Um,
the guarding one? You have to guard and then press like square or something. It's
it's
like
an
a
yeah,
I think
yeah,
it's
yeah,
called
yeah, yeah.
something demon or something. I don't remember.
A demon trust, was it demon trust? Yeah, demon trust, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
demon
demon
trust.
trust.
That's the
So
one, I think.
basically, demon trust input is R1 plus square, and that means it's not quick attack or strong attack that can be deflected for enemy guard, and I can pierce through their guard. When I pierce to the guard, I break it, and I'm able to launch wall sequence to get God of in 3, and that works very well in the Neo 2 against human enemies. But in Neo 1, I
Mm.
did not. I mean, I could just have parry disabled and I could do whatever I want, of course. And
Yes, yeah.
that's a thing. Let's say when I'm playing with Tonfa, like you can also have the
Oh,
similar
so
issue.
free.
I mean, you are much more free because most of the skills are starting with L1 plus input.
Mm.
I was saying the previously R1, so L1 plus some input, and then you can see me a lot. A lot of time when I'm playing with Tonfa, I'm using Tiger Bite. Why I'm using Tiger Bite? I'm using Bite as a gap closer, and I'm using Tiger Bite to pierce through enemy guard, which means I'm going to break their guards, prevent them from actually holding their guard, and I can actually continue with my combo. If I go instantly into Heavenly Chain, which input is only triangle, I'm gonna get deflected, and I would just say no, you're
Hmm.
not. So yeah,
Yeah.
there are some things that are changing here too, and I would say like they made us so to say play differently, especially with spear. Like playing with
Hmm.
spear without parry disabled, it's really difficult. You gotta know because you got only few moves that you can actually land. And for instance, spear bash, if you try
Hmm.
to launch spear bash on an enemy that's holding guard, you're going to get deflected because your first input is actually quick. It is a quick attack, so you gotta do quick attack into strong attack. So basically, it's square triangle. But what you can do, you can actually press square when you are away from the enemy, pre-switch to high stance, and then press triangle, and the game will register that you are in a high stance, and that skill is only low stance, and you can actually pierce through enemy guards. So pre-switch stance is actually something that we have been forced to learn in Neo 2 because we had no parry disabled, and I'm
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
that's a really nice thing. That's really nice, something really cool, I would say. But yeah,
Hmm.
that's overall quite
I think
quite nice. Yeah, go ahead.
I think it would have been really nice to be able to like I don't know. I just really like parry disable uh for Tonfa specifically because I feel like it just makes that weapon so good. It makes it so good. It's already so good, but with the lack of tracking in the first game for Tonfas, I just like I need that, man. Like it's so good. Like and another thing is like not being able to flux cancel your not Kanagi's Demon Dance. That's what it's called. Yeah.
You can do that in
Not
Neo
being
2.
able to do that.
You can do that in Neo
Yeah,
2, but
in Neo
They
2,
change it. They
not
change it in
Neo
Neo
1.
2, and basically it's quite simple. If you keep pulse as soon as you attack, you will not demon dance. If you delay it slightly, you will demon dance. In Neo 1, regardless, whatever you do, you go into demon dance. Actually, you're going into demon dance animation. And when they actually added that thing in Neo 2, I was that actually changed drastically the way
Oh,
and the speed
100%.
of that weapon. So absolutely, that was actually
Yeah,
game changer for me.
100%. It was one of the things that like made me like open my eyes. I was like, wait, I can just cancel out of this at any time? Like I could just do that? Like that's crazy to me. Like but yeah, no, the first game I was so used to it by the way. I was so used to being able to flux cancel Demon Dance in the second game that when I went back to the first game and played Tonfas, I was like, okay, I don't know how to use this weapon now. It feels so foreign to me. So I was like, you know what? I to counteract that issue, what I did is I just disabled Demon Dance on low stance and mid stance.
I was about to say that you can just do that. That's the
Yep.
only Neo one to do it. You just disable it, and then you are getting that sort of similar effect that you have in Neo 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what I did, and it made my gameplay with Tonfa way easier. I was like, oh wow, this feels way better, and it was to the point where I was surprised when I had been playing with somebody that I had already previous experience, and him coming back to the game with me, he was kind of like, oh yeah, I didn't think about that, and I was like, yeah, there you go, like that's how I do it. So
Yeah,
there you
exactly.
go.
So to get to another question regarding to Neo 2 is
Hmm.
let's talk about, you mentioned earlier DLCs, and then like from your perspective, Neo 1 DLCs or Neo 2 DLCs, and which one in both of these games was your favorite? Like,
Ooh, well, I okay. So I guess I'll start with the Neo 2 DLCs since they're fresh in my mind now. Um, I I feel like a lot of the DLCs in both games are, of course, great. Um, There is, however, a lot of like there's a lot of like side content that just feels like, especially in the first game. I'll just switch back to the first game really quickly, and then I'll go back to the second one. But the first one has like some DLCs with filler missions that are just hellish, man. Like if you don't know how to, go about those missions, they are hell sometimes. Like there's like like against all comers from the second game, man. Like the first time I did that, I was like, oh my god, when is this gonna end? This thing is going on forever, and so it's just like, God, like it's again, it's a side mission, or I think it's a side mission. Don't quote me on that.
Yes, yes, it
Um,
is side mission.
but yeah, no. In terms of the side missions, I think it's a good challenge for people that um like to, just continue to play the game, right? And they're, more used to things. And for co-op, it's great too because there's lots and lots of things you can do, like just continue fighting, countless enemies, waves of enemies, and stuff like that. So that's all good. I'm not knocking it, but for me personally, I just think it's just like a lot. But anyways, sorry. So the second game, I really like a lot of the bosses in the second game's DLCs. Like I really like I used to never say this, but I actually like Yoshitsune now. Um simply because I watched this one guy play against him. His name is Yue Q Fong. He's like a Chinese player.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure if you've heard of him at all. But
I
he's
don't think so.
oh my god, Zila, you have to go watch that dude. He's so good. Like, okay, so I'll tell you this. So Somi, who's also a really, really good player, he we were just talking, just texting each other back and forth about some Neo stuff, and he had mentioned this guy and showed me clips of him playing against Yoshitsune and Saito Toshimitsu, and it was like night and day difference. Like I don't think I have ever seen a single player do the things he does so consistently, and not, well, I shouldn't say consistently. He probably dies a lot, but he is like very impressive. Incredibly impressive player. And it just blew my mind like how good he was. I was like, "Oh my god, this is insane." And so I watched him fight Yoshitsune, or well, I should say Saito Toshimitsu. I saw him do that first and I was like, that's gonna take some practice. And then I practiced for a couple of hours and I kind of gave up. I was like, yeah, no, that's not for me. And then I saw him fight Yoshitsune and I was like, wow, okay, I could actually do this. I could actually do what he's doing. So I practiced for like 2 days straight, didn't do anything else, and I am like extremely comfortable with that boss now, and I kind of developed or copied um his sort of playstyle towards that boss, and it just felt amazing. Not to say that, like I don't like incorporate some of my own things in there here and there, right? But he really just kind of he sort of paved the way for me to kind of just like get into this play style where I can be really like how do I say it, like I'll say it like my friend does from Tekken. He plays Tekken a lot, but he says frame tight. I'll say I like playing frame tight. I like being able to um, play, in your face at all times. There's no like pauses in between fighting enemies and stuff like that or bosses. It's just I'm going in and I'm gonna stay in until I need to get out. But like that's kind of like how my playstyle. That's the type of playstyle I like to incorporate. And I feel like in Neo 2's DLCs, they um they let me kind of do that a lot of the times. They let me, be able to like, okay, go in, press some buttons, and do some cool shit. That's the type of thing that I really really like about Neo 2's bosses. Same thing with Neo 1. Neo 1's DLCs, what was it? Oh my god, I can't even remember. Oh
Which
well,
one?
let's
There is a
let's
first
talk about
DLC with
how.
Shigezane. There is a second DLC with Sanada, and
Yes.
there is a third one with Nine Tail Fox and Toyotomi.
Yeah.
So those are
Yeah.
those are the three ones. So
I
Like
really
for
like I really like fighting Sanada. I think he's like
Sanada, yeah, best boss,
I
best
think
human boss
I
in my
think he's
opinion.
the best. Yes, I think he's the best human boss without question. He is so fucking cool, man. Like he's like one of my favorite bosses ever. Um I always thought he was like really cool looking, just like awesome move set. Like yes, he's difficult, and I know a lot of people like probably think, oh yeah, but like Neo 2 AI with like bosses and like I think Saito Toshimitsu is up there too, man. Like he's a great boss as well. Like he's very complex AI. Very fun to
Yeah,
fight once you actually learn him. But I think as a boss in terms of, difficulty, spectacle, and um just great boss design, like in general, just inside and out when it comes to actually fighting it and the way it looks, I think Sanada just beats it out the water, man. Like he's just like the best human boss I could think of. He's just really fun to fight. And then what's his name?
who?
That first boss you mentioned in the
Ah,
first
Dare
DLC, I
Shigizane,
forget his name now.
the centipede
Yeah,
boss.
Date is a boss that I would love to practice more. I think he's one of the more interesting yokai bosses in
Yeah,
like all the games. He's such a hard hitter, man. He's a very hard hitter, and he's got like a pretty solid amount of moves, and he's just really quick for how big he is. Like
that's
he's
true.
very interesting boss, and seeing uh BSG, man, like I don't know, man. BSG, he's the goat, man. Like he's fought so many yokai bosses in
Mm.
the first game that just make me like it just amazes me, man. Like the way he goes about fighting them and stuff like that, and
Yeah,
like
the,
he's
the
just
legendary triple yokai fight in
yes,
that skeleton mission. I forgot the name of that god shit
hmm
skeleton boss. So he
yeah,
actually
no,
get
that
on a dream with the
he's
demon and get three
he's
yokais and
very
fighting
good,
them.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
actually
no, his
that's how I
yokai
met
boss fight is
BSG.
great.
That's when I
Hmm
got first time on BSG stream and I was like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Then I'm actually seeing
I
him.
know. It's like
I
every
was like,
time he shows me something, like I was like, wow,
what?
man, like he's so good. Like,
Yeah,
I
but
don't mean to, just like completely glaze him, but yeah, no, he's like every time like I used to be a lot more active in the Discord before I don't know, I stopped playing, I guess. Like I still kind of play here and there, but I don't play as much as before. But he would be in the call, and I'd just join up, oh hey Gucci, you want to see something? Be like, yeah man, what is it? And then oh yeah, here. He'll do a fucking no-hit run on a boss in Neo 1 with like no problem at all. And I'm like,
yeah.
he's doing shit I hadn't seen before. I was like, what the fuck? How did he do that? He's just I don't know. I'm gonna stop glazing him though. But he's great. He's great. He's a great
Yeah,
player.
yeah, he's definitely one of the reasons I'm playing Nia today. Yeah, he was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
He actually got me in because he just opened the, so to say, mind. Like when I saw how Nia could be played, I was like, okay, this game it's not like any other game. You have a whole another way to play this game, and then I should
Mm-hmm.
just only practice, and that's how it was. Practice. Keep up playing, and then at some point you have to improve yourself. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
especially like let's say no potion gameplay or runs. I actually have seen that from him because he was doing that, and I have to say when I drop on potions and elixirs, that's what I
Mm-hmm.
mean. It was really difficult. Like you have no way to heal yourself, and you gotta
Mm-hmm.
think twice. And then, as the time passed, I just got used to it, and then you get used to your low HP because you know that many people get scared when they are at low HP and they get confused or oh what I'm gonna do, oh I'm gonna die, and then they die. And basically, I have one HP and I
Really
just
good.
run around. I don't care about one HP. I know that I'm going to die if I get hit, but the thing is I'm not going
Mm-hmm.
to get hit, and that's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned a lot from him, and Yeah, he's definitely great player. I mean ABC as well. I hope so that that guy is good, but I haven't heard of him as well. Like
Oh my,
a little one
yeah, I know
ABC.
about
The
him.
guy did whole Neo one mission, every single boss with a level one weapon. When I say level one, Neo two level one weapons are not similar to Neo one.
Yeah,
Neo one level five, basically they have like a 100 attack. Like he's fighting a boss for like 30 minutes or so. That was something like,
yeah,
and
no,
I was
things like that. It's like me, I'm like I can't like as much as I would love to devote my time to doing something as silly as that. Like it's like, hey man, you know what? You got it, bro. Like I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna use my time for things that I like to do. But you know what? I do still think it's quite impressive. Oh yeah,
yeah
and we can't forget about the god, the Lord Hidenoji, the Otakemaru specialist. He
yeah.
single-handedly the single-handedly beat this boss like what 1,000 times, man. Like
Yeah,
you can't forget. You can never forget about Hinanoji, man. He's the
yeah.
legend, bro. Like he's different, man. Like I don't know, he's different, bro. Like I would never do that, but
Wait, what
congrats
was
to him.
what was that famous? I can't. Was it like that? He got mad because he
Yeah,
died.
yeah. I think he spent like what was it, like 30 or 40 minutes on the boss, and then he
Yeah,
finally got hit and died. Oh my god, yeah, that was a legendary clip, man. So good.
yeah. I just yeah. Now that you mentioned him, yeah, that was legendary for
Mm-hmm.
sure. So to step on another question, is I mean
Mm-hmm.
that's obvious, but you would probably like to see Neo 3, but what do you think they could change,
Oh
and
man.
what would you change in Neo 3 in comparison to Neo 1 and Neo 2?
Well, as much as I would, love to give people ideas, um, I feel like what they really need to just do is give us more of the things that they decided to add in the second game. But I honestly don't think I really want soul cores back or burst attacks or burst counters back. I think that part of the game is great, but I think if they actually just stuck to their roots and just kept the game simple like they did before, like not simple, but not this like, um like if they added like a similar, not similar mechanic, but just, something new, you know what I mean? Like I don't care if it's like easy or anything like that. Like if it's easy, that's fine. As long as we keep the base gameplay like loop of the first game and the second game, being able to, do skills with L1 plus square, triangle, X, stances, key, pulse, flux, all the important stuff, as long as that stuff is still in the game, I will be happy. I will be happy. Um, but just more. Like I'm like that meme. I'm just like that kid. I would like some more. Like that's me. So like what I would say is like yes, keep all the stuff that you have from the first game and the second game, and just give us like some new stuff in terms of like some mechanics. Give us some new stuff, more interesting stuff. And I know it's easy to say but hard to implement, right? So I'm not going to expect them to do anything super crazy, but yeah. And then in terms of skills and stuff like that, I really really do feel like the skill trees for weapons need to be more complete. I feel like a lot of weapons in both games, by the way, not just the second game or the first, but both games. I really do feel like both games have an issue where there are some weapons that are just simply not complete, especially with their skills. Like you look at sword in both games and you go, "Oh, that's a complete weapon," and then you go to axe or kusa or dual swords, and you're like, why the fuck does dual swords have like 6 million parries? Why does the Kusa not have a skill here on like
Yeah, exactly.
like things like that, right? So like I really think that they need to focus and like lock in on like doing that specifically, because I feel like it's such a it's just sad. You know what I mean? It's just kind of sad. Like it's like, yeah, I want to use the dual swords, but like it's just not interesting enough. Like it's better in Neo 2. It's more interesting. You get a key pulse dodge forward move that like is great for pressure. Um, you have that one move that you get from what's that?
Which
The
one?
monkey guy,
Ah,
the
double-headed
second one.
slice. Double-headed slice.
Yes, double-headed
Tokichiro.
slice. Yeah, yeah, Tokichiro. That's his name. Yeah. Yeah, double-headed slice. Great move, man. Like it's awesome. Like it's a great base, like just like high damage, multiple hits move, right? But I think like something dual swords specifically is missing is um it's really missing just like a lot of like human slash like yokai like weapon interactions, right? Like I really feel like a lot of weapons, like for example the spear, right? Like with and not a lot of people use this, but like the banana split move where you like use the spear to like sweep humans
Mm-hmm.
off their feet
Mm-hmm.
and then
Mm-hmm.
you just like final blow them. Yeah, like that stuff is cool and interesting, man. I love that stuff. And same with the one where you like turn them backwards with the spear. That move is awesome. Like it's things like that I really like about fighting enemies in Neo with is like the weapon slash enemy interactions that you get to do is like super diverse, very fun. And the fact that you have these different enemy states like being knocked down or being out of key and stuff like that stuff is awesome. But with a move set like dual swords, it's really difficult to make it more interesting because your base move set is like I would say like dual swords is more of a weapon meant to fight yokai enemies rather than humans. I really feel like that is like the case. Like, I mean, of course, you have all these parries, right? Like, these counters
Yeah.
and things like that you can use
1001
against
parry
humans.
on the same
Yeah,
button in the
exactly.
mid-stance, which you can't
But
use
yeah,
at the same time, unfortunately.
yeah, that's the other shitty thing. But yeah, no. I just feel like dual swords and even Kusa needs more things like that. They need more things that you can like. Okay, like if I do this on a human, then this will happen, and then after that happens, I could do like three different things. That would be awesome. But we just don't have that. You know what I mean? It's like dual swords, very good weapon, very fun. Um, but you need to kind of like learn how to use it right in order to get the fun out of it. That's kind of what I've learned over the days of using that weapon. Um, and same with Kusa. Like Kusa has like a similar issue, although it does have like the chain pull moves, which is kind of fun to do, especially on yokai enemies. I love pulling myself in and then being able to just do whatever I want. So like at least it's more interesting in that regard. But yeah, man. Wait, what was the original? What was the question again? Sorry, I completely forgot. You.
No,
Oh yeah, you were.
what would you like to see in Neo 3? But actually, you stated
Yes.
out that that was everything related to it, so you haven't
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
strayed
Yeah.
away from the answer.
That's
Yeah.
my full conclusion on that. Yeah, I would say.
Hmm.
Yeah, just like make the move sets a little bit more complete with weapons and stuff like that, and of course,
Hmm.
give us like a nice brand new story and some new enemies here and there, maybe some better map design, please. Like
Hmm.
maybe that would be nice. Like I think the map designs are okay. Never thought they were actually like that amazing. I think in terms of like not spectacle, like just the way maps look, I think those are fine. Those are good, right? Like I think map design in the first game is very like Dark Soulsy, where it's like like the maps kind of like to fuck you over a lot. That's that's the
True.
thing I see from the first game a lot. Like they like to do that a lot. But I think the way that a lot of maps in the first game look are better looking stylistically, but the second game is they took all the criticism probably from the first game and said, "Oh, you know what? Let's make them a little bit more like spacious and safer to traverse and things like that." So it's less interesting. I think they kind of need to like mold the two into one sort of thing, like have some spacious areas and then have some areas that are like a little bit more treacherous and um all that stuff, but less claustrophobic. I feel like there's a lot of maps in the first game that are very like if I fall off this edge, I will die. Or if
Yeah.
it's like I'm in this corner and this corner is like too small for me to like actually fight anything, and especially with the fact that Neo 1 has this like this stupid mechanic where you hit a fucking wall and then you clank on it. Like Dark Souls, like my god, so bad for spear, man. Oh my god. Anyways, so
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I would say. Yeah, that's my answer for that. For Neo 3.
Okay, yeah. I was saying, yeah, many times. So there is a lot of things that could be changed and adjusted, but yeah, I hope so that we'll see one day that famous announcement of Neo 3, because I would say that's their best-selling game so far.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to say that actually we gotta get to the end, but yeah, it was actually quite nice. I would like to thank you very much for joining me today, and I would like to see you also in one of the incoming future podcasts. So yeah, thank you very much for joining me today.
No problem, Zilad.